What is up? Welcome to Mangalku, our weekly manga reviews. This week we are doing a singular volume, Hard-Boiled Stories from the Cat Bar by Yourei Ono. Interesting one. It's a solo story. There's no other volumes to it. First, we're going to go ahead and do a spoiler-free review, and then we'll move into kind of a full spoiler of what little we can actually spoil from one volume. So if anybody wants to know what's it about, should I read it? It is about a hitman named the Undertaker. That's his title. And he's been hired to kill somebody. And he's supposed to be like the best hitman, whatever. Yeah. And he finds out that, oh my God, this other guy I'm supposed to kill is also a cat lover. What do I do? Because I too love cats. And if you love cats, the whole fucking thing. Yeah. That's as little as I can say without like kind of giving the whole plot to the story, because that is only one volume.
Yep.
Did you guys like it? What do you think? Would you read more? Because it's a singular kind of like case, I would say.
I like the whole detective aspect, crime, trying to figure it out. The cats threw me for a loop.
So if they did like more like individual cases, like each almost volume was like a case, would you guys be interested in reading?
Yeah, if it was going to be like
Detective Conan almost.
Zone.
Yes.
Yeah, I was so down for it.
Let me just say I thought it was kind of crap. I didn't really like it.
So my biggest complaint was that it felt jumbled, but it had to be on purpose because it's a mystery. Yeah. But I was like, I am having a stroke again, and I'm getting really tired of reading shit that makes me have a stroke.
The reading was probably the hardest part for me. Like
the part that you have to do.
Well, it was like,
what do you mean the reading was the hardest part?
I don't know. I felt like it was just a little too dragged on at certain parts of it.
I do gotta be honest. Yeah, like we normally read like shonen, and I'm like, I got through 5 pages in 10 seconds. Woo! And then I was like, wow, still on the same page for 30 seconds.
Well, like what was kind of interesting for me? So it's like
One Piece is like that, where they have tons of writing on it.
Yeah. The 3 kind of like key players of this manga, they looked so fucking similar.
Thank you.
I could not tell them apart until I saw X Dude.
They looked so similar.
When they got to a point where they were showing the main or like the people that looked exactly the same in the same room, I'm like, what's your differences? It's like one of those like spot the differences, circle them real quick.
Like the person who wrote this clearly has a type of I don't even know if it's a guy or girl author, but they have a type of guy they think looks badass or they think looks hot, and they're like, I'm going to do slight variations off of that one, but then it gets really confusing where it's like they're all talking or it's like they're playing off of each other.
What if we don't show all of their face this time and so you think it's somebody else the entire time? And
sometimes like the text bubbles, I wasn't exactly clear who was talking, and that was just doubled by the fact they look the same, and I was like, man, I don't know.
I was very confused towards the like was it like
it was a lot of
volume?
reading a text bubble and then going back and trying to like place to the text bubble to who said
and let me be honest, I was not putting that much effort into it. I gotta say though, when I first read it, I was so surprised. I was like, wow, Sam's going with the Pride Month theme, and he's gotten me again. And I was pleasantly surprised it wasn't like
they were right on the line.
Yeah, they had hints to it, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, it's got like a story to it.
Yeah,
it wasn't Dick Fight Island where they just kind of anally ream you into that realm. But yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, and I just thought, I don't know, we don't read much in this genre, like you're saying. We're normally doing like the shonen stuff, or like even like the comedy route almost exclusively.
Yep.
So for this one, I don't have much experience in like a detective manga. I don't know like what is a good bar to that. But I can think back to a detective manga that I really, really liked, and it was The Case of the Fallen Angel from the Jump to Zuka one, and I thought that was way infinitely better than this one. This one I just felt like, and they have to do it because like I think of it like a crime show, where it's like they only have the set amount of time to tell you the story they're trying to tell, so they can't waste time giving you all these other characters like, oh, did it maybe be him? It's like instead they're like, oh, here's this character, it was him, and it's like, and then here's how it's gonna go down. And it's like they have to do that, but I just think it's something where The Case of the Fallen Angel was 55 pages, something like that. It's this I'm talking about a one shot for the Jump to Zuka contest. In case you guys haven't watched all our stuff, it was so incredible. You could still read it now. Just Google The Case of the Fallen Angels by NAF, N-A-F, and it's one chapter. And I thought that was incredibly well done.
Yeah,
and I think this one was worse than that. Yeah. So that was just kind of my feeling when I was reading. I was like, I've read a better detective series like in a chapter than what I got out of this.
I think the other thing, like you were saying, how it had to be done in a certain amount of pages and kind of like had to tell a certain story because they had to keep it like mysterious the whole time, and because of the fact that 2 characters looked identical and almost 3 characters look identical, it was like, I'm thrown out. Like I can't keep up. I genuinely thought I wasn't like my pages had been printed like in the wrong page.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. It's not bad. It's like if you want to, like if you do want a detective series, it's fine. It's like you get that. There's lots of cats, lots of hot guys in it. It's like they toe the line on that.
Yeah, the art was fantastic.
Yeah, the art was really good.
I did like the barkeep.
Yeah,
he was pretty funny.
The art was very good. There were some funny parts in it. So it does have qualities there. I didn't personally like it. I know you guys said you liked it, but it's definitely has aspects. It's not shit.
Yeah, I think my scale goes down a little when it's the one the one volume.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that's fair.
It's like okay.
Because it's a much harder comparison to do just a singular volume where it's like normally you need a little bit of setup time to see where it's going to go. Whereas something, if you just got the one volume, it's like that's got to be concise.
Yeah, I mean,
which by the way,
Go.
You've done fantastic. I don't know how you pick concise
stories,
like stories for each one. I was like, wow, we actually finished a story in a single volume.
Yeah, well, we're just so used to doing like the 3 volumes or more kind of thing. So we get like a little bit of that appetizer, we get the lunch meat and everything, and then we're kind of starting to dive into dinner.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth checking out if you are into hot men, cats, or detective stories. Either one of those, check it out.
Wow, that is your shit right there.
I did read the author's notes, and he said this was like his first one being published and stuff like that.
Yes.
And he talked about how his cat just passed away recently, and so he wanted to have a story revolving around cats and everything. And old men who love cats, which I didn't know was a thing. But
I didn't either. I saw that too, and I was like, oh, okay.
That's kind of cool.
Like an asshole
it was like old men who passionately love cats. And I was like, oh,
that's kind of
cool.
That's
a genre. Okay. I
was like, good on you. I like that, though. That's cool.
We saw like a Shark Tank episode where like a cat cafe was being pitched. And I'm like, is that a fucking thing? And I guess
they have them in L.A.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I don't know what the old man clientele. Like I've known cat cafes or thing. I didn't know there's some sort of old man clientele that's just like.
I feel like somebody misinterpreted a cat call cafe where it's just a bunch of old dudes at 6 in the morning.
I'm about to get laid, and they walk in and see a bunch of cats. Oh, that's pretty good too. It's
pussy's pussy, right?
Okay, so let's move into our spoiler section. We're going to talk about the main story beats going forward. We kind of gave you our general consensus about it, so if you wanted to know what we thought about it, there you go. Going into the story bits, it was just like, I was so confused.
Yeah.
I was just like reading. The problem, I just wanted to really nail this down. It's the text bubbles and it's the fact that it looks so close to each other. It confused the fuck out of me apart.
But the problem is they did all the things I would normally ask them to do. They had different text, like
different styles.
Yeah, different styles of text for different people talking. They had the chat bubbles in different locations. They had the little dash. But sometimes they're like, maybe we don't need to do that, or maybe it's implied, and you're just like, where the fuck are you at?
Yeah,
there was phone calls too.
Yes.
Made me want to stab myself.
There were
in the
phone
leg.
calls, and where you only saw one side of the phone, you didn't get to see who was on the other side. There were flashbacks that would happen out of nowhere, and be like, man, where does this fall into the timeline? Like, I'm so confused. Yeah. And because they would flash back, flash forward, flashback, flash forward. It's like, well, is this before the last thing that happened?
This is something that does not deserve an anime in terms of like what type of story it is, but if it was told as an anime, I would feel greatly better about
this. Well, yeah, because then you can distinguish the voices too.
Exactly.
It's like
it'd be a little bit easier.
It gives
to
an extra level of distinguishment when you get the voices, you know.
And like when you get a random ass flashback where it's like in the middle of a scene, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like an example that happens in like manga and stuff is they'll do like a character comes back. They won't show the character, but the character will say something. And that works perfectly in manga. But it won't work in an anime because the moment you hear the voice, like, oh, that's that character.
It's like, oh, he's got a voice modifier.
Yeah. It's like, so it doesn't make sense. And that's where a solution that anime would solve, where it's like all this talking, you would have the voices to go over. Yeah. And then you would be fine. But it's like this time I was just so confused. The story itself was pretty straightforward, it seemed like.
It seemed like one of those things where the cat cafe just made itself unbearably known at all times. Like it did nothing for the story. I know it did technically because of the cat theme, but it was one of those things where it's just like, if this was a real case, like if that was a real cop, y'all have been shot. Fucking,
you know, I go ahead, Jose.
You know that movie, was it like
12 Angry Men?
Yeah.
Okay, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's where I was going. 12 Angry Men, and what's the one that Tarantino did? Eight Crazy Guy.
The Hateful Eight,
or
something like that.
It kind of reminded me of something like that, where it was like, oh, this is the route it's gonna go. It's gonna get kind of crazy, and then it was just mild.
It's just a story of everyone being in a room, and you're like, what happened today? And you're like, well, let me tell you. And it's like, oh, that didn't check out.
It just seemed like, I don't know, there wasn't exactly like a twist per se, where it just seemed like I don't know. They kept harping on this cat thing where they were like, "Oh, they say cats can hold grudges for a very long time."
Yeah.
Nobody in that room was holding a grudge. Like,
yeah, no.
every single person in that room, even the guy. So like the main detective that we're following, who's the good one. I think Onodera.
Yeah.
Onodera with a scar.
Sorry.
Yeah, Onodera was like looking for Undertaker. That was his goal. He's like, I want to meet Undertaker. Like, saying that's his whole goal. He meets Undertaker and forgives him almost
immediately.
instantly.
Yep.
Like,
oh, but didn't you know he made a music gun?
Like, it was just almost instantly, and it's like cats can hold grudges for a long time. He fucking let that thing go in an instant.
Yeah.
And then it's like the main bad guy, Inspector Skoda, was like, oh, cats can hold grudges. He's fucking with me. And it's like
if that was like a mental thriller where it's like, I feel like that could be told really well if there was fucking nagging music in the background where you're just like like fucking
you just hear meowing.
What's the fucking Psycho one? Is it just Psycho where they come into the shower and try to fucking stab? But yeah, I feel like music would help it too. It just build up the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know how much that would help, but it's basically we get to watch simultaneously where it's like the guy who knows he's done wrong, right? Which I don't even think he has officially done wrong. The inspector, what I got from it is the Inspector Skoda, he is basically taking the fault for his dad and like
who we do not see, right?
Not in it at all. And basically his dad and some other cops were dirty and fucked with his partner or the partner of Onodera who got him killed. And then now he's basically being called on like, hey, if you don't sort this out, your dad's going to get in trouble, my guy. And then so now he has to hire the Undertaker to take care of this guy. But then the Undertaker doesn't do it, and so then he has to try, and then the Undertaker tries to get him again.
Yeah.
And it's just like a whole back and forth to the point where, you know, Onodera, the whole gameplay reveal at the end, or the twist, quotes, is, he had nothing. It's like he just wanted to meet Undertaker. Like, that was it.
He wanted to die.
Well, he also wanted to juke the other dude, which is kind of funny. But
I think the juking of the dude was literally just to meet Undertaker.
Yeah.
That was literally it, which he did almost instantly.
Yeah. The two things that I walked away with were, one, if I ever meet a random person, I expect them on my deathbed to completely come up with a magical game of how to make this other guy reveal that he is the bad guy without me ever asking him. Literally, figure it out on your own. Shoot me real quick. We've talked nothing about this.
We need to get him
establish an entire thing where the guy comes in and you now pretend to be the guy I gave you the last bit of information for. It was just so blown away that anyone would make that amount of effort. I don't think I could ask you guys to do that for me on my deathbed. Be like, yep, the guy, don't really have anything for him, just kind of want to mess around, wanted to meet you, Sam, just see you one more time. Can you just set up this whole fucking thing for me?
Yeah, but I think that was a special, like, I didn't think that was too far off, because, like, all the people in the cat bar are fucking eccentric weirdos. Like, that's the first thing you see when you go in. There's, like, one is a fucking journalist or, like, an editor. One is an editor.
Yeah.
One is, like, an ex-Yakuza super famous writer.
Yep.
The other is a fucking hitman.
Which they just call him Undertaker.
Everybody knows. Weird. That's why I assumed it was just, like, a kind of a collection of maybe, like, fringe criminal weirdos that just, like, hang out in there and, like, cats.
It's like that
would be
it's
so
like the
much
dive
better.
bar where everyone hangs out.
Yeah, it's exactly it. It's like the fucking place where all the hitmen hang out in John Wick.
Yeah,
that's basically
exactly.
what I took from that. I was like, oh, we're all just hanging out with cats.
Pull the fucking
and
gun
they all
out.
like respect the guy who owns the bar. You know, they're like, I smoke fucking outside. You're not doing anything here. Like, okay, right away.
I did like those bits where it was, like,
so that's kind of what I got from that. And then, like, you know, I did get the feeling of Undertaker, like, not exactly feeling bad, but he was like, oh, I kind of owe him to do that. Whereas, like, I did kind of kill his partner, and then he loves cats. My bad.
But, like, now when you go to hire, this is the second thing. Like, when you go to hire a hitman, like, I'm at the point in my life where I finally have, like, 15K. I'm just like, fuck that one person in particular. And then he just has a fucking weird emotional moment for himself, and he comes and kills me kind of thing. Like, I just don't, like, he didn't obviously kill the guy, but he turned around and fucking backstabbed him, essentially. An emotional figure. Gets his ass beat. And then he has now psychic or traumatic injury because cats are everywhere and he's just fucking in his own mind. I would just be really upset because when I lost my 15K, I'm pretty sure he's already
he was upset.
How do you know it's 15K?
He's just saying in his hypothetical.
I know.
I mean, you know. But yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know. Now I've got that in the back of my mind.
Well, that was the story. That was what happened.
I've just got it in the back of my mind.
Of course he was upset. Like, that's how it went.
It's just ruining my...
It's like, man, if the events in this story happened to me, I'd be pissed. Like, well, yeah, the guy was pissed. Like,
yeah, well, I agree. It's just, I'm saying it scares me. Now it's like, what do I do if I really want to hire a hitman? Do I have to do it myself at this point?
Hire the hitman's bodyguard.
there you go, Ryan Reynolds.
That's the third movie.
That's just no problem. So,
oh.
All right, well, a good input all around, really.
Thank
so, just the philosopher stuff. Jose, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was all right.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, not much else to say about that, I guess. It's just eccentric old men in a cat bar.
I like the cat. Like, Dandy was funny.
They basically interrogate people. They do their thing. You know, the bad guy doesn't really get in all much trouble at the end.
He throws his hip out.
He does like end up in the news. I think at the very end is what happens.
Yeah.
And that's about it. We don't know what happens. Undertaker ends up becoming a bodyguard or a bouncer.
I liked how they turned that. We're basically like, yeah, we have no information. We have absolutely nothing, but we've wrote a tantalizing tale to make everyone think, wow, the politicians are assholes.
Yeah.
Where were you at in the first place?
So it's kind of an interesting end, I guess.
Well, it's like Dandy no longer belongs to Onodera because, he gets glacked.
Yeah, that cat's got a rough fucking life.
Yeah. And now
who decided kill me in front of my cat so he knows I'm not coming home? Like, what?
That makes sense. Otherwise, the cat wouldn't know.
Cats are very spiritual, okay? They understand.
Yep, that's what it said in the manga.
They really harp that one. I don't. It just seems weirdly sadistic.
And he was heavy.
Yeah, I would be so mad if my hip. Again, if this story happened to me and I went to pick up a fucking cat and my hip throws out, I'd be really fucking pissed.
Okay. I mean, the cat was like, I mean, I would love to know how much a cat would have to weigh for that to be a possibility. Because
I would have to say at least over 50 pounds because OSHA regulation says you could do 50 without
even
somebody.
The Undertaker, when he goes to pick up the cat, he's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, how heavy is that cat really?
I want it to be like from some Men in Black bullshit where it's got like a whole galaxy inside of him.
Yeah.
Like if it took that kind of turn, I would have been wildly
interested. It's got like an insane amount of mass.
Or like Nibbler from fucking Futurama where he takes the shit that's like a couple thousand pounds or something like that.
I forgot about that, dude.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. But
interesting. A couple of funny bits. They could definitely build on it more. The characters in the bar are very likable, so I think they could kind of spin that off and keep going. But aside from that, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So if you're interested, once again, hot men, cats, bars, detectives, they got it all. Really, they got hardboiled stories from the cat bar.
Yay.
So they have that for you. So definitely check it out if you're interested. Let us know what you thought if you've read it. I'd be interested to know what you guys think out there. And then we're going to go ahead and talk what we're going to do next. So coming up next, I should have remembered. I think it's like Sakamoto's not just a cutie or something.
Yeah.
Shikimori's not just a cutie. I should have looked it up. I can't remember. The picture will be on screen. That's the one we're going to be doing 4 volumes of that one. It's supposed to be in the similar vein as Nagatoro-san, Komi Can't Communicate.
So that
should be really, really good. A bit of a comedy one as far as I know. Don't know anything else aside from that. And then the next solo one we're doing is called Sadako-San and Sadako-chan. It's another, it looks like it's kind of similar to Nagatoro in terms of that, where it's kind of like almost like a little comic, like individual, like little funny bits that happen throughout.
Yeah.
But it's about the girl from The Ring and a little version of her. So it's a comedy version manga about the girl from The Ring. So
it's stressing me out with the names. I'm starting to think because of this fucking manga we just read that it's going to be about twins, and it's going to be the entire time I have no idea who they're talking to.
It's her little sister.
It's going to be the two.
Well, one's like grown, one's a little kid.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
You should be okay on this one, hopefully.
Okay.
So. But we'll see. That'll be the next one. So that'll be 2 weeks from now. Next week, we'll be back with another 4-volume release. So, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe on the video. And then let us know what you thought of the mangas in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.